Welcome, everyone. I'm Claire Jones. I am a queer fantasy romance author as well as a small publisher that supports other writers in getting their works shared with the world. And we are jumping on for my Marketing as Authors podcast, where I interview the amazing and inspiring authors in my network to discuss the marketing strategies that have hopefully propelled our careers forward in meaningful ways. If you're joining us, please like, comment, share below. Let us know that you're here. And today I'm talking to Anthea. So glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Um,
another Worldcon bestie that we have showing up.
it was fun. It was great to meet you at Worldcon. So yeah,
Yeah. We were just talking about before we started recording how much that specific panel was also, fun to do, but also well received by the audience.
yeah. I think when authors are having fun chatting with each other, like that's fun for everybody, you know.
And it was a very fun topic as well, romantasy.
Yes, absolutely. What's better than love?
Right. I mean, I always say sex and magic, you can't really go wrong.
Right?
Well, give us a rundown of your books. Let's start off from the beginning. What are they? How many? What's coming in the future?
Absolutely. So, as I was mentioning while we were kind of chatting before the podcast, I started indie publishing in 2011. I came out of traditional publishing in historical romance,
Mm.
that was interesting. So I've always had lots of romantic elements in my works. I'm still publishing historical romance on the side a little bit.
Mm.
Bridgerton notwithstanding, it's a genre that is not hugely popular right now. So I've also in 2011 started publishing under my YA pen name of Anthea Sharp
Mm.
and have a lot of sort of YA leaning fantasy out there. It's not hot, but it's very romantic, slow burn. Um, and I am working on my 19th novel right now. So
Wow. What are you going to do when you hit 20?
little dance. I don't
A
know.
little
It's
dance. I hope
worthy of
it's a big dance.
celebration.
Come on now.
It's tricky though, because they're spread across two pen names. So I kind of feel like it's silly, but I feel like that doesn't count. Right.
Mm.
But I have a lot more novels out under my Anthea Sharp name. And the next one coming up is actually currently a standalone romantasy with echoes of the Little Mermaid and some Norse folk tales. And it's
Yeah.
Crown of Sea and Storm in your classic like romantasy
Yeah.
name generator
Yeah.
game. You've
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
those like blink,
Noun
blink,
of
blink.
noun and noun.
Right. Bowl of mac and cheese. But
Ooh, yes.
so I'm looking forward to that, and that'll come out Kickstarter first and special edition, and then all the formats on retailers probably middle of next year. So
Nice. Nice. Well, I'm actually really interested by this naming convention thing you brought up. It might be a bit of a tangent, but I think it relates to marketing. It does not.
absolutely. I mean, titles are hugely important because you want to be signaling genre. You want to be just like setting out that expectations. You know, titles and covers are paramount. Like people do judge a book by its cover and its title. So I really, this was a tricky one because my trilogy that precedes this was pretty easy to come up with a naming convention. It's a trilogy based on the fairy tale of Snow White and Rose Red
Hmm.
and a retelling of that fairy tale. And so I ended up with white as frost, black as night, red as flame. So
Hmm.
just just slight twist on the titles, but that was pretty simple. I have another trilogy, the initial Phaeland trilogy, which is the Dark Realm, the Bright Court, and the Twilight Kingdom. So
Hmm.
just trilogy naming, but I struggled for a while on this one. But crowns, there's a prince and a princess at odds, enemies to lovers, a little bit of trope there, and there's sea and storm are hugely important in the story. She's got secret water magic that she has to learn to tame and harness, and then storms, of course, follow hard on the heels.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I ended up. Plus, it absolutely um, is right on brand for romantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. What inspired the switch from historical romance to romantasy?
I grew up reading young adult fantasy and desperately searching for those books out there that had romantic elements. So
Mhm.
early days, that would have been Anne McCaffrey, Andre Norton, the women who were kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit and putting romantic elements there in their speculative fiction, which I
Mhm.
just adored. Um, Discovered Juliette Marillier
Oh,
and
I
Robin
love that
McKinley.
series so much.
Yes. Oh, Daughter of the Forest is like my
Oh,
yearly reread. I just
it
love that so
destroys
much.
me every single time.
Yep.
And I'm like,
Yep.
oh, it's so good.
Yep. So I was like, historical romance is really interesting. It's very strict genre conventions in historical romance. You've got to get the history right.
Yeah.
There's definitely at the time that I was publishing historical romance, it had to be hot, 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 like
Mm.
super spicy. And I enjoy writing super spicy, but I was like, okay, I'm ready to not write super spicy all the time, So it was nice to be able to let each book kind of this one that's coming out actually is I'd say it's slow burn, sort of low spice, but there is absolutely an open door scene and there's a lot of tension. So
Mhm.
it's and that's tricky. Like, what does spice mean to people, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that in the panel a lot, is
mm-hmm,
like, what qualifies romantasy versus fantasy romance? Because, like, I'm one of those authors that is very firm about my designation as fantasy romance instead of
yeah,
romantasy. And that has a lot to do with, like, whether the romantic elements drives the primary plot forward, how much spice there is, so on and so forth.
yeah. And this is probably my most in the pocket romantasy in terms of being very relationship centric. If you take the romantic arc out of this book, the plot falls apart.
Yeah,
They have to get together to save
yeah,
their kingdoms. And they have to fall in love doing it.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So you said you did the historical romances under trad imprints, correct?
mhm.
What was
Yes,
the switch like for you from trad to self?
it was so interesting. So I actually, even before the writing, even before becoming an author, I'm a professional musician. I play the
Mm,
Irish fiddle. And so my husband and I made our own CDs and we like did all our own promotional material. And, we'd book
wow.
a studio, we'd be involved in the mixing, we'd hire a graphics person, we'd like do the whole package. And it was really weird to get bought by traditional publishing and have them say, okay, little author, we're patting you on the head, just hand in your manuscript and we're going to handle the rest of it with basically zero input. And that was a challenge. So I was bought into a romance line that was actually being phased out. I didn't realize that at the time. And
Mm.
so they, the editors were kind of putting less and less effort in. So I just got a whatever cover. They decided to call the first book Passionate. And I had zero input on the back cover copy. I got the back cover
Wow.
copy from the editor, and she's like, "It's great, huh?" And I'm like, "Huh? Can we tweak things a little bit?" And so that was very frustrating because the answer was no. So I
Yeah.
had zero feedback on any of that, and just to realize that, wow, I might know some things about marketing, about presenting my work, about using those marketing tools as a musician. Like my CDs did well, and were right in the pocket for Celtic music, and then just to be shunted off to the side. So that was a really nice thing, leaving traditional publishing and being able to get control of all my marketing
Yeah.
and editing. My second book with TradPub got basically no editing, and it was very frustrating. I
Mhm.
got orphaned by the house, which is when your editor leaves and you get passed on to someone else. And I think the editor left under a cloud a little bit, and then it was unclear to her juniors who were stepping up, like, did she edit any of these books? Did she
Mhm.
not? And they kind of erred on the side of like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's good enough. Um, and so my books now, my indie books, get way better editing, beta
Mhm.
reading, content. I have a good friend who's my content editor that she reads for, continuity and closing up, you know, plot arcs and character. character arcs, plot threads, things like that. So it's I love that. And I love working with designers to make gorgeous covers and now making my special editions, which I'm really loving the chance to make just beautiful blingy books. It's
Hmm.
very fun. So, but the challenge is, of course, that you have to do it all yourself. And in 2011, you really had to do it all yourself. There were not the
Yeah.
kind of tools out there now for indie authors in terms of marketing, any of that. BookBub didn't exist. Vellum for
Yeah.
formatting didn't exist. You were hand coding your HTML files for your ebook,
Oh
you
my
know.
goodness. That
So
sounds wild. Hand
it was,
doing HTML files for EPUBs. Wow.
yeah, yeah,
No, thank you. There's a reason why I hire a formatter.
yes. And the all the resources and tools are there now for indies, which is great. And just makes it a lot easier, but it also means that there's more expectations. The bar has
Sure.
gone. Speaking of covers and speaking of titles, like back in 2011, 2012, 2013, you could just like make a cover in Microsoft Paint and put it up and your book would sell. And then the bar started to go higher and higher, and indies weren't able to just compete on price anymore, which is
Yeah.
what put people way out ahead of TradPub at that point. So
Interesting. Yeah, I find it so fascinating because it's been a radically changing landscape just this year alone, too, in terms of trad versus self and how authors are navigating it because of the rapid rise of trad imprints now picking up successful self-pub authors.
and there was a rash of that in, I would say, 2013, 2014. Amanda Hawking was one of the big stories. She did the Trill books and like blew up on Amazon and got picked up by TradPub. And Hugh Howey with Wool, print only from Simon and Schuster. Like there were early indie success stories, and then TradPub did not handle it very well. And then for a while in like 2015, 16, 17, indies were making so much money, like the successful indies, that I was in some high powered author groups and people were just laughing at the kind of advances that TradPub was trying to give them and saying, like, I make that in 2 months on
Mhm.
my books. Why should I sign with you? Like, you're not going to give me anything extra. And then as that sort of big high of indie publishing has sort of faded down, I think we got a nice big bump around COVID where
Mhm.
people's careers really,
Yeah.
were doing very well. But it's harder now. It's absolutely harder.
Mm.
And people with some success, I think, are willing to talk to TradPub and see what is on the table, what can come from TradPub.
Yeah. I mean, you really have to be discerning throughout this entire process, whether you
Yeah.
are doing trad, you have to be very discerning with agents, contracts, advances, all
Mm-hmm.
the stipulations. If you're doing self, you have to be very discerning as to who you hire, how you market yourself, how you message yourself, how you brand yourself. I talk about author branding all the time because it's like
Yeah.
people don't even consider that when they push the Amazon publish button.
Right. And it's huge. I mean, branding is everything, honestly. We were talking, before the official start of this, and about how many things indie author has to do.
Yeah.
Just how a single book is just this huge long list of things. But and I think that people get suckered into the illusion of like, oh, if I just sign with a traditional publisher, then I can just write. And that's absolutely untrue.
Absolutely.
You have to do everything. You have to do
Yes.
all of the things. And you get way less money. So,
Yeah, and way less control.
mhm,
I call it the hermit author myth.
yes. I mean, we'd all love to sit in our cave and write books and just hand them out the door of the cave and they
Yeah.
go on for fantastic success. But it's not really how it works.
Yeah.
Certainly not in this day and age. So,
Yeah.
so marketing is key. Yeah.
It is. It is. I was in an interview the other day where they were asking me what I like best about my writing career? Like, what's my favorite part? And I was like, well, when I'm in my writing nest, that's my favorite part. Because, like, when you get into that writing flow, the dopamine hits, like, it's
Oh, yeah.
so great. But then I go to events like Worldcon and I'm like, oh my God, people, oh my God, oh my God.
This
Like,
is my
people.
favorite, right? And and I think for every author, no matter if you're on your 19th book or your ninth or your very first, that moment when you actually have your finished book in your hand, whether it's on your e-reader or a physical copy you're holding, like nothing beats that feeling. Like every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. I did special edition dust jacket hardcovers for all 4 books in my series this year. And like I just sit there and stroke them.
I have mine right here by my desk. I like move them around to see the foils
Yeah.
sparkle. It's like I love that. It's and that's been really fun because early indie author days, there was there was no way that you could figure out how to do like how to make a super
Oh,
special edition
yeah,
for yourself.
absolutely. Yeah. The cost was entirely prohibitive.
Yeah. And I mean it's still high, but wow, there's some great options out there for authors now. It's
Yeah.
just fun to see.
Yeah,
So
it is. It is. So you're talking about branding, you're talking about discernment when it comes to all of these contracts, you're talking about, work ethic when it comes to writing all of this stuff. Did your previous life support all of this skill development in the writing career realm?
I would say kind of yes, as a musician, and it's ironic because when I started writing, people were like, "Oh, you're trying out writing? Well, don't quit your day job." And I
And your
would just
day job
laugh
was
because
musician?
I'm like, "No, I got this." So we're kind
Oh,
of
that's hilarious.
similar, where you have to market, you're branding yourself. For quite a while there, when we were first performing, river dance was huge, and the whole Celtic music
Oh,
kind of thing was huge, and we
yeah.
played so many weddings with
Yeah.
Celtic themes, but you've got to get out there. How do you position yourself? How do you find the people who are having the wedding so they can hire you for their beautiful Celtic themed wedding?
Mhm.
So I think I did have a lot of those kind of entrepreneurial skills coming in, that made it easier for me to put a whole lot of hats on.
Hmm.
And it's not for everyone. I mean, it can be tough. I
Yeah.
have seen people who maybe are better off just like taking the lower paycheck from trad and just handing their books in. I've talked quite a bit. Actually, we had dinner at Worldcon with a wonderful fantasy author. She's one of my favorites, and she's no longer under contract with big traditional publishing houses. And she has written some incredible series that I really wish she had more time to write. But because of what traditional publishing pays, even though she's a huge award winner, New York Times bestseller, she always had to have a day job. Like
Yeah.
she could not support herself with her books. And that makes me so angry because sometimes I think about all the books we did not get because
Yeah.
she had to support herself elsewhere. And
Yeah.
but it's really the whole world of indie publishing is very daunting, particularly as you get a little older. And if you're not super techy, it's like, how do
Hmm.
I even begin to do this? So,
Yeah. 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 I literally had a client once hire me just to sit with her while she uploaded her files to Ingram.
mm-hmm. Well, and Ingram, I mean, can I hire you for that?
Yes, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy because like I have spent 4 years fighting with the Ingram
Yeah,
platform and I feel like I have almost conquered it.
they are the worst. I really, really miss Create Space, which was the KDP platform that Amazon had previously. It was actually its own independent thing, and then Amazon assumed it as it does, and now it's gone. But
Yeah.
it's sad. Those guys were great, and it was a really easy to use interface. Imagine that. So
Yeah. Yeah. The only time throughout my entire production schedule that I feel like throwing my computer out the window is when I'm fighting with Ingram Spark's book building tool.
there's that Book Vault. If you've worked with Book Vault at all, one of the things that Book Vault offers. Book Vault UK has the ability to POD a lot of special editions.
Oh,
So you can POD a book with foiling and
oh
sprayed
wow.
edges and color interior. It's not as inexpensive as sourcing a print run, but if you're only doing like, you know, 20, 30, 50 books, it's really the way to go. But their
Book vault, you
website,
say?
Book Vault, yes,
I am going to take a note.
absolutely. And this is we talk a lot about special editions in the Kickstarter for Authors Facebook group that I run, and everybody's always sharing their wins and their frustrations with Book Vault and with other printers and vendors in terms of getting their fancy books made. But
Yeah.
that's another, you've got to gird your loins when you're getting ready to like
Yes.
log into
Yes.
to Book Vault.
Yes. Yes. This year, because I did the special edition Dust Jacket hardcovers, I had to upload 4 different book files from
Mm-hmm.
just the hardcovers by themselves. I redid all of the paperback covers too to make sure all of the numbers aligned better. So I literally spent 2 days fighting with Ingram Spark and getting all of those files uploaded.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, this is just my life right now.
I think one really important skill that indies need to have is to realize that platforms glitch, screw ups happen,
Yes.
and it's not you and it's outside of your realm of control. Yeah, I have someone I work with, and she's like, this is happening. What did I do wrong? And I'm like, what you did wrong was you logged in on the day that the platform is glitching.
Yeah.
Like, it's not you.
Yeah.
And just like hang it up, try later.
Yeah. Patience and,
Yeah.
I think grace is also what two of those skill sets that aren't practiced enough when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to engaging with this book journey that we find ourselves on.
Yeah. I think, it's really interesting. So for me, I've been on this indie journey for 14 years. It'll be 15 in April 2026 was when I first published, April 2011. Um, and you just get some perspective.
Yeah.
You realize that, slow down, take your time. The house is not on fire. There are no irredeemable mistakes in publishing. So just don't rush and get a little perspective about what you're doing. And you can always change stuff. Like I'm on my third cover go round now for my first indie series, and I've tweaked things a lot along the way. The only thing that's going to sink your author career is stopping writing books.
Yeah. There's a lot of fear these days when it comes to like irredeemable acts, like you mentioned, when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
cancel culture online. So is that irredeemable to you? How do you view?
Um, I think this has to do with the grace and patience kind
Yes.
of thing. Is like, do not knee jerk respond to every
Yes.
troll on the internet. Do not post your stuff out there and try and be provocative. Really consider your words as an author, because there are the mean kids out there who are
Mhm.
trolling, who delight in bringing authors down, but just do not engage. Just don't, so just like bite the tongue. If you want to have a sustainable career, you just keep yourself on an even keel, you keep going. But even something like that. So what you learn from being in trad pub is someone whose career has quote died, or someone who's become a quote black sheep. They get a new pen name, they change genres, they keep going. Nobody even knows. So there is a certain amount of reinvention of yourself as an author when you're on this path for a longer period of time. And I don't mean like that you just drop off the face of the earth because some horrible thing happened and then you come back as a phoenix. Although there are authors who have done
It
that.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. But that you do have to pivot. You have to be aware of like, okay, what's on trend right now? How should your covers change from say 2011 to now? Like what are the new conventions? What are the new tools that people are using? Like how can you work smarter and not harder? All of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. How much time do you spend or effort do you spend on social media compared to other marketing methods?
I spend a little too much time on social media. I love my Facebook, and I need to get on Instagram more. I really enjoy Instagram. I've dabbled in TikTok, as so many have done, and I'm like, yeah, this is just not vibing it, you know. So I'm like, whatever. People can post on TikTok and talk about my books, but I'm not like really there. Um, Part of the time suck for me with social media is that I got deeply into Kickstarter in 2022, and just got so hype on it and was like, I can hardly wait to talk to all the authors about Kickstarter. And there were no Facebook groups. There was a walled garden that you could pay a lot of money to join to be in this Kickstarter thing. And I was like, heck no, like we just need to talk about this. And so I started the Kickstarter for Authors Facebook group, which is very active. There's 8,500 members in there right now, I think, and a great mod team. But it's like it's easy to get sucked into like a super big, busy, active group. And I try not to do too much hands-on management, but I love to be there and to talk about people, talk about Kickstarter, answer questions. So that was a diversion to say a little too much time on social media.
Yeah, yeah.
I do try and carve out some time, every day to actually make words. I have a big sign above my desk that says "Writers Write," which hello, and so that, and then there's a million other things, and I just have to, as probably you do, and any other working indie, kind of triage what's coming across the
Yeah.
bow. It's like this is the most important thing. I do a weekly business meeting with my chief organizational officer, who I also happen to be married to, and he keeps me like, okay, this is what we're focused on this week, and what's hanging over from last week, and what is the really crucial stuff, and what's new that just came on the horizon that we need to create a project for and talk about the steps. And that's been really helpful. We've been doing that since he retired or we were able to retire him from his day job. So
Nice. Yeah, I mean, you have to have support. Like your team is crucial to success.
absolutely. Yeah.
So where do you start with marketing? Is it with social media or is it elsewhere?
Um, I the kinds of marketing I love to do is it's not ad based, it's not ad driven. I pretty much have never done ads. I've done a few AMS ads over the years where I kind of get in there and try them out. It's like, oh, this is going great. Oh wait, now I'm in negative ROI. Okay, turn those off. I'm done. Um,
Yeah.
I've never done Facebook ads. This is something that I'm going to start doing soon. My career does just fine without that. I early on, like BookBub, when BookBub came on the scene, I was one of the first, among the first authors to use it. So BookBub has been a great little engine, promotional kind of engine. I'm of the belief of write good books, package them well, get them in front of people without having to spend a ton of money. You're like with a good ROI. So you'd think I'd be doing ads, then really that's on my list for maybe, I don't know. It's been on my list to do for years now.
Mhm.
But also having done this for, well over a decade, I've got a really good mailing list. I've got over 20,000 people on my mailing list.
Wow.
They're engaged. They're like, and that's huge.
Yeah, that's a huge to have 20,000 engaged. That's wild.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I get like the rolling average of open rates is probably about 40%, so it's not
Yeah,
like
that's decent
it's not
though.
up there as 60 or whatever, but it's
Yeah,
it's solid. And
decent.
whenever I do a sale or I send something out to my mailing list, I absolutely see like the response. And so that's great. So owning your audience, not sharecropping on Amazon or so that's important to me. I have a lot of friends on Facebook. A lot of them are authors, but a lot of them are readers too. And I'm just kind of chatty there. And occasionally, definitely running. For a long time, I did first free. So first did my series free for my Phelan books, and
Yeah.
sold a lot of books that way. Again, it was the idea of like, get your good, well-branded book out there in front of people, and hopefully they'll connect with it.
Was that
But
specifically through KU or is that just
no, I've
why?
almost never been in KU. I've been partially because I think anyone coming out from traditional publishing already has wide readership. And
Hmm.
so it's important to be on all the platforms. I've dabbled a little bit. I mean, I've gone in and out of KU, similar to AMS, of like, oh, I'm going to try this for 3 months. Yeah, okay, that didn't work. So
Hmm.
go back to wide. So Perma-Free first in series for my 6-book Phaland series, and then just the read through was there, and that sold very, very strongly for years. That strategy also put me on the USA Today bestseller list 2 years in a row in 2014 and 2015. So that worked. That really moved books. Things are changing now, so not so much. And also, Amazon has polluted their own stream. I mean, back in the day, we had to ski uphill both directions to school. But the algorithms, part of why indie authors succeeded so beautifully is because the also bots were pure. There was no advertising of other people being able to advertise on your book page. Like, that didn't exist. So what you saw was the absolutely very clear and helpful people who like this also like that, also bought this, and that just drove a ton of careers. And now it's really hard to actually even find the also bots or the also liked. Like, there's so much advertising and sponsored product ads to wade through. And as a result, a lot of people are ditching Amazon, not just authors, but I mean, I know that I go on and I'm looking for a product, and like, I can't find it. I put it on the search bar. I've got to like dig through all the sponsored products.
Yeah.
I still can't find it. Fine. I'll just go directly to the website or try a different vendor or something like that. So I think that's happening with Amazon. I think there's kind of a very slow spiral happening where they realized, oh, wait, we messed up because we wanted so much profit that people can't actually find what they're looking for on our site now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There are a lot of indie authors who look at me like I've lost my marbles when I tell them that I've decentered Amazon in my distribution strategies. They're like, what?
right? The world is so much bigger, and
So much bigger.
like direct sales are increasingly important, and that leads into like, you know, don't sharecrop on other people's land. Like, if you are running ads to Amazon for your books and someone sees a sponsored product ad there that they like a little better, then you've just paid to get someone to go buy someone else's book on Amazon. I mean, that just hasn't made sense for me. So part of why I'm going to start doing actually more direct sales ads is because my Shopify store is up and running. It's finally getting optimized. I want people to go there. And yes, I'm still sharecropping, as it were, because if Shopify went down as a platform, then what?
Yeah.
Then I directly email all of my readers and find a different way,
Yeah.
But just putting as much under your control as an indie author as possible, I think is prudent.
Yeah. And I love that your first step is emailing all of your readers to see what they think, because so many people make the assumption of what they think readers would want without actually talking to them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love my mailing list, and I also love my Kickstarter backers. They are just gold. The people that you are directly interacting with is, who was it? Was it Seth Godin? Somebody had the 1,002 fans kind of theory a while ago of like, if you have 1,000 hardcore true fans who will support everything you do, then you're good. Then you've got a viable career.
Yeah.
Instead of the like, well, I'm just shoveling stuff out there to the masses and asking 99 cents or free for everything. I mean, I think KU has its place, but I definitely think it's problematic in a lot of ways too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long did it take you to build that email list? I mean, it's obviously been a long time, but was that an
Oh,
intentional build
yes.
strategy?
Yes, it was. It was. There was a predecessor, gosh, what was it called, to BookFunnel, that had that sort of idea of
Hmm.
um, like offer a free book in exchange for a sign up, and we'll do, and they were somehow involved with BookFunnel a little bit, and or Book Vault, sorry, Book Club, too many books.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
them.
and they ended up actually getting sold to TradPub, who took all of their mailing lists, and like they're not a thing anymore. But I built a lot of subscribers that way because this was in the early days again
Hmm.
of people doing like the joint like newsletter promo
Yeah.
giveaways, and hey, let's all offer our books, and then everyone emails out to their mailing list, and then we all get each other cross-pollinated, and those were hugely successful in the early days. And you had people who were actual readers who actually bought books who were just super delighted to find more authors. um, now newsletter builders are kind of an iffier prospect, and there are a lot of leads that like sign up, grab the book, immediately unsubscribe from your
Yeah.
list. But in the early days, they were very, I'd say probably about 10,000 of my readers came that way. And then the rest came via links in the back of my books. I sold, 250,000 copies of my Phelan books at least, and have, sign up for my mailing list in the front and the
Yeah.
back. And I still get people coming in from that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's so important too. Like the back matter that you put into your books. I think a lot of indie authors forget to pay attention to front matter and back matter when
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
key marketing tool often.
And it's essential. And particularly in the back matter, if you can take that reader who has just read your whole book and hopefully liked it and get them onto your mailing list, I mean, that's huge. So definitely one marketing trick is end the book, do not have a hard page break to about the author, and oh, by the way, join my mailing list. Immediately after the end, your little graphic, there's your little thing of like, hope you love this book, come join my mailing list. Like, because otherwise everyone knows Amazon just like closes the book like
Yeah.
when someone hits the end. So you want a little something
Yeah.
on that very last page.
And that's also an argument for direct sales too, because you get that customer information on the back end during the purchasing process as well.
Which is huge. Oh my
Huge.
gosh. And that's the other great thing about Kickstarter too, is it's so transparent. You see who is supporting you, you get their information, you can directly talk to them, you can message all your backers, you can email them individually. I mean, it's so different from the world of retail pawn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love this, repeating message of owning your audience because
Mm-hmm.
I preach this all the time when it comes to like we all remember this has happened multiple times now, the days that Facebook died.
Right?
Like if Meta goes down, that's Facebook, that's Instagram, that's WhatsApp, plus a whole other subsidiary applications. And what happens if you have a big launch event scheduled for that day?
Right? Or people who are like, well, I had my big release, and and Amazon was down, or my BookBub feature deal that I paid hundreds of dollars for, and oh, oops, there was, the servers crashed. I mean, this happens. It will happen to you in indie publishing if you stick in here for any period of time, right?
Yeah.
And I mean the general you, the listening you.
Yeah.
um
I
I
mean, I've
had a
even
friend.
heard of email newsletter clients completely deleting people's lists as well. And so I
Yeah,
actually have a monthly practice of downloading my email list.
exactly. So that happened to me with MailerLite, and I was so steamed, and I almost left that platform so many times. But they actually they had some bad actors using their servers, and a couple of the servers were blacklisted. And so they forced a number of people to remove inactives from their mailing list before you could. I lost 4,000 people off my mailing list. I was forced to delete them before I could access my account and start
Wow.
sending newsletters again. But I could still, actually, I could still access my account. I couldn't send anything. So I tagged all of them as forced unsubscribed. And I spent probably the better part of a year slowly going through and trying to contact a lot of them and say, hey, you were removed from my mailing list. Would you like to join back on? And most people said yes. And I am still getting some occasionally I do like a book funnel mailing list build, multi-author thing. And sometimes I get someone who comes in and I'm like, oh, look, they were tagged as part of that purge and they're actually a real person and they're back and they want to join my mailing list. So the other thing, just real quick about mailing lists and part of why mine is so big. So I was like, well, darn, 4,000 people are gone. I guess my open rates are going to really improve and my engagement rates. They did not. And I actually saw really a negative impact on my next book release of it just feeling like it didn't reach as many people. And I'm like, wow. So these people were here, maybe just reading the headline of my newsletter as it came through, or just reading it in preview mode or something. Like they weren't showing up as engaged, but absolutely it had an effect on my business. So I do not call my mailing list. I'm like, at some point, someone wanted to be there.
Yeah.
And maybe life has happened. Maybe I'm not going to hear from them for like years, but they still said, yes, I want to join your mailing list. And
yes.
So for me, it's part of my cost of doing business is to pay for 20,000 people on my mailing list. I feel like it serves me well and I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned the like life happens aspect of this too, because I feel like so many people get so attached to the attention of their audiences that they forget that they're just imperfect human beings too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it sometimes takes years for them to come back to you, but they've might be have been thinking about you this entire time.
Right. Or or they've had just a big life thing that they've had to deal with. It's like some year I'll be able to get back to reading books again, and then I'll want to be hooked up with those authors that I liked back in the day,
Yeah.
So
I once had an experience where I was networking with this one woman for about 2 years, and then she went radio silent for like another 2 years. And so I stopped reaching out because I just didn't think that she was interested in hearing from me again. She randomly Facebook DM'd me one day and was like, "Hey, I've been watching your posts and I want to connect someone to you." 2 years after we last spoke. And I'm like, that's the glory of like just holding that space for them.
Like you said earlier, patience and grace
Yes.
like are huge, not only in this business, but I think in life, in everything we do, just don't be knee-jerk reactive. Just breathe, realize people have their own circumstances, they're dealing with whatever, and don't be reactive. And just do your thing as patiently and as gracefully and holding grace for people as much as possible.
Yeah. And I think that message is even more important like this year too.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think everyone's going through it. That's what I see on my end. Everyone that I talk to is going through it. And I see a lot of entrepreneurs and writers and people who are in business for themselves take it personally. And I'm like, do you see what's going on up there?
Right. So in the Kickstarter group, there's a number of people who are running campaigns right now. And actually today, there were a couple of posts from people saying, what is going on? I haven't gotten any pledges. Is the platform dead? And people are like, yes, have you looked out your window? Like things are a mess. People are shepherding their pennies. The holidays are coming up. Like it's not you. It's just the world situation. And you got to be patient and have grace, right?
Yep.
You got to just be like, well, this is where we're at right now, and maybe your Kickstarter's not going to do as well as the one you ran like at the beginning of the year. And just be where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that also goes back to the like whole diversification conversation
Hmm.
too.
Hmm.
Is like I think we also have to diversify our expectations.
Absolutely. And also, so one of the early gurus of self-publishing was Barry Eisler. And he talked about, he called it your at bats. And that has stayed with me the whole time. So he moved from trad pub to indie and was just delighted. He had a whole screed about this awful, awful cover they'd put on. It was like a green garage door on one of his books, and the sales tanked. And he was like, "You guys do not know what you're doing. You're awful." And then he like
Ah,
revitalized his career by going indie. But the at bat is like how many times you're swinging. And he says, so you're up there, the the balls are coming, and a lot of times it's a miss. Like, yep, oops, you didn't connect. And sometimes you'll just hit like, okay, just a single, like boom, or maybe you'll even book, but then something happens. And then sometimes if you keep swinging, you're gonna hit those big runs. You might even hit a home run. But if you're not out there swinging, your chances of that happening are impossible. So keep your at bats coming. Just keep trying things. That's a little bit in direct conflict with don't do all the things, right?
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
but like you said, diversifying is giving yourself a lot more swings
Yeah.
against different teams in different fields. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's diversifying strategically, not just
yes,
like throwing as much spaghetti at the wall as you can manage.
exactly.
At a certain point, you're
And
going to run out of spaghetti.
exactly. And you will have nothing for dinner because it's all on the wall.
Yeah. 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 You're like, can I eat it off the wall? Hmm.
Maybe only the ones that stuck. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like every writer has gotten to that point where you're like, can I eat the spaghetti off of the wall?
Sometimes it feels dire, like, yes, and you're spread so thin, and you're like, everyone else is throwing their spaghetti at the wall. I should throw my spaghetti too. But like, no, keep a bowl for yourself, and keep your keep yourself nourished as an
Yes.
author. In every sense. Becca Syme has been so great, I think, for that. I don't know if you followed her at all,
Yeah.
but the whole like JOMO, the joy of missing out. Like, do
Yes.
not do all the things. Don't do the things that are not in alignment with who you are as a person and what your modalities are. Like, you're just going to make yourself crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Would that be the one piece of advice that you give to people? What would be like, if you had to sum it all up?
um I think persevere, and and do what you can to hang in there through the hard times, because there will always be hard times, but the only one who can kill your career is you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up?
just I just want to encourage everyone out there who's listening, who is writing and maybe struggling or has a few books out, but they're not selling the way you'd like. It's just someone out there needs to read your book.
Mm,
Your book is important, and you never even know who that person is. You might not ever hear back from them, but for someone, they need your book. So keep writing, keep putting it out there, keep having faith that even though you might not see it, it's out there making a difference in someone's life.
yeah. I will underline that 100 times. Like I just say, I just want to see more books birthed into the world.
Yeah,
I live the dream because I get to nerd out about books all day. And if you just give me more books to nerd out about,
exactly. Exactly. And also listen, trust your own wisdom about things. And I don't mean like, oh, well, I'm going to design my own cover because my book is so unique that no one's ever seen anything like this before. Like, no, don't do that. Um, but just really trust your heart in terms of the book, the story that you really want to write. I think authors can get in their own way a lot. And I have a whole screed I could give about not letting people into your writing process, really protecting your process, protecting your mental space, and kicking out the critic that's sitting on your shoulder saying, oh, that sucks. Don't write that. Like, shut up, just write.
Yeah, yeah. Shut up, just right. Oh my God, yes. I am very strongly opinionated too about protecting your writing because there
Mhm.
is such thing as too many cooks in the kitchen. Like I don't let
Absolutely.
anyone see my manuscript until I'm done with the first draft.
I've actually found that even talking about my ideas sometimes, if it's not in a super supportive space, can really derail you,
Yeah.
and you've got to know, just like, I know you're super excited about your thing, but I found I can never articulate it as clearly to people about why this is such a cool idea. And if I'm met with skepticism or like, oh, okay, like that robs my own faith in my story idea. And so I've just found that nope, I just zip it. I just
Yeah.
don't talk about it until, like you said, that first draft is down.
Yeah, yeah. Like I have to feel complete with the story before I let anyone else touch it because then I have a better foundation for considering their suggestions and their advice.
Absolutely. The only person that gets to know anything about my stories in advance now is my husband. So, fun fact, we actually co-wrote the first novel, the first historical romance together.
Oh,
And
wow.
his first name is Lawson, and my first name is Anthea. And so my pen name for the historical romance is Anthea Lawson.
Oh,
So
cute.
we did that first book together, and he's very much a like bucket list, one and done. Like, I'm like, okay, great, we're authors now. And he's like, no, I wrote a book. Now I'm ready to like, I
I'm
think I'll go
done.
get my law degree, you know. So so he's like, but he has a great sense for plot. And I know that if I'm like totally wrote myself into a corner and I'm like, okay, how do I get my characters out of this? I can brainstorm with him. And I'm not going deep into like my whole big plot arc or things, my underlying character development. I'm just saying, okay, so they got chased by a bear down a canyon. How are they going to get out of this? Yeah,
They get out through magic.
right. Well, you're not wrong.
Yes, yes. I do have a bit of a bone to pick when it comes to time magic being used as the cure-all in
Mm-hmm.
fantasy and sci-fi stories. I'm like, okay, we can't always rely on time magic.
It's a little bit of a Deus Ex Machina, right?
It
Like, and then
is.
we'll just rewind and oh, everything's great. It's like,
I hold a grudge to this day from this one series that I read that it was like a slow burn that built up over 3 books. And I was like, the only reason why I kept reading the books was for the payoff at the end of this burn. And it got completely nullified by time magic at the end of the series.
no.
And it just like disappeared in my hands. And I was like,
Well, so much for that author.
I was like,
And we say that, and people have strong opinions about, say, the ending of the Divergent trilogy, but that did not keep Veronica Roth from continuing to write and to have her fans and to have more big hits. And that's the other thing, is that there are enough readers that your readers are out there.
yeah,
And when you get a critical review, just remind yourself, that's not my reader.
yeah, 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 absolutely. Well, this is powerful stuff that we're talking about, and I always thoroughly enjoy these
Oh,
conversations.
Claire, this has been great. So fun.
Audience, we definitely encourage you to share your own thoughts, feelings, insights, stories with us as well. We'd love to know how you have navigated your own journeys in this realm. And please do let us know if you have any questions. We'd be happy to answer them. I know we use a lot of vocabulary words in these podcasts that you may need the glossary for. So please do hit us up if you need a few definitions or points clarified. Special thanks for Anthea to join me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, I've loved it. It's, could sit around and talk writing with other authors and indie publishing
Yeah.
literally for hours. We just touched the tip of the iceberg. But
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me. It's really been a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew I was doomed when I started having dreams about teaching marketing to authors. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah. I'm doomed. Please comment, like, subscribe below. Check out linktree/clairjoyance for my links. And then where can folks find out more about you?
Um, AntheaSharp.com. Find me on Instagram as Anthea_Sharp and on Facebook, Anthea Sharp. And my direct store is fiddleheadpress.com. And on Kickstarter, also Fiddlehead Press. So.
Awesome. And I'll put those links in the description for easy access. Until next time, please remember that you all have extraordinary stories to share, and we're rooting for you as you use them to change the world for the better. Take care, guys.